hitting the jumper, sharing his delight with Spike Lee.
Doug, I watched Patrick in warm-ups, and that was a shot that he came out, and he took that shot at least 50 times in warm-up because he knew that's where he would get the ball today.
If he goes inside to Larry Johnson and he spaces the floor and they help in, Larry Johnson can be the guy that creates the opportunities, and Patrick can do what he does best, make that little open shot. That's worked for them in the second quarter.
Yeah, I think they got to play off of Larry Johnson inside ability. I don't think they can go to Patrick into the post. They have to go to Larry Johnson in the post.
Even after the 2 free throws by Jackson, the Pacers have been outscored in this quarter 23-9. Childs into the lane. Johnson has it. And the foul is on Jackson, even though it's Mark who hit the floor first.
Chris Childs must have seen our opening. He saw what he was in the first 2 games. Today he says, I'm going to be plus today. I'm not going to be in that minus. Plus 14 today. He really has done a terrific job in helping get this Knicks team back on track in this second quarter.
You know, Doug, a lot of times you had a tendency to only look at
Houston.
You have a tendency to only look at a player's offensive production. But what Chris Childs has done in shutting down Mark Jackson in this series, that's what Van Gundy loves.
Smith into Davis, but Davis travels. New York with a 5-point lead and the ball.
Off the screen. Good screen by Ewing. He comes off Larry Johnson. Miller trailing. Pump fake. Knocks it in. And this is what they have to get from Allen Houston. The open shooting, the aggressiveness. He gives New York a 5-point lead.
Anna, thanks. We'll catch you again at halftime. Meanwhile, Childs walks it up the floor for New York. Around the Ewing screen. Into the lane he goes. Tried to dump it off for Johnson. Ball loose. And Bill Oakes whistles play to a stop. A New York foul on Larry Johnson.
See, Chris Childs did everything right there, Isaiah, except make the delivery. He got in the lane, but he tried to make a pass that you reach out your hands and deflect. You got to make a little soft bounce pass where the guy can see it, catch it, and then be able to finish. Doing everything right, his heart in the right place. He's just got to make sure he finishes those plays.
One of the things with Chris Childs that he has to develop in this game is the mid-range. When he came off into the lane, the little 12-foot J was open. You can't take it into trouble into the big man. You got to draw that big man to you and then make the bounce pass or the feed.
Mullen, who led the league by hitting 94% of his free throws, makes them both. And there's a foul away from the ball. Chris Mullen picks it up. That's his first. Both teams over the limit. 2:24 to play until halftime. Larry Bird flanked by his assistants, the veteran Dick Harder, who mostly handles the defense, and the younger Rick Carlisle, who concentrates on their offensive sets. And Bird, in addition to his other qualities, his demeanor and the respect he commands, especially from this veteran team, is the most important thing. But his willingness to delegate authority to capable assistants has really been an important part of a 58-win season for Indiana and possible Coach of the Year honors for Larry.
Well, Bird has brought specialization into the game. You see it in football and baseball where you have a lot of delegation. Bird in basketball is the first to really delegate that responsibility to an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator.
Knicks by 5, and now a steal. Ewing from Childs. Around Smith with the left hand and almost a three-point play. It would have counted had it gone.
You know, Bob, so many people talked about, boy, they should have kept Patrick Ewing out for this game. Brought him back this game for the emotion. You see Patrick here going to the basket in the finish. Isaiah, why I think it was important for him to play in game 2. He needed to get that game underneath his belt. You knew he would be better in the second game. Imagine him coming in here in a must-win situation for New York. and being rusty and maybe costing them a game at home. I think it was smart that they played him on the road.
Doug, if he doesn't play in game 2 in Indiana, they lose that game by about 15 to 20 points. They come in here and they don't have the type of confidence that they're exhibiting right now. But the thing that I like what Patrick is doing right now, he's not settling for that shot. He's taking it to the basket and is creating contact, which consequently has put Smith on the bench right now.
They're close to getting Smith in foul trouble. Larry Bird pulls him here. That was his third. Miller with a good pass, and they work it around to Dale Davis, who got it from Antonio, and Dale Davis was fouled.
See, Reggie Miller had him beat at the start of the play. Reggie Miller lost Allen Houston at the start of the play, which consequently forced a chain reaction for Dale Davis to be open underneath the basket. But it all started with Reggie Miller moving without the ball.
The Pacers go from 2 of the best to 1 of the worst at the line, and Davis tosses up a brick. They had Miller and then Mullen at the free throw line. They rarely miss. Now Davis, who's under 50%.
They shoot 70% from the playoffs from the field, so you know he's shooting high percentage shots. Probably dunks and layups.
The foul line is not a high percentage shot for him. He's 0 for 4 today, and neither of those two was even close. They'll walk back the other way after an offensive foul.
Patrick Ewing trying to set a screen for Allen Houston in the corner. Sometimes the guard goes too quickly. Let's see what happens. Patrick steps out, throws that hip out, and he gets the foul.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact on that play. For him to get a foul such as that, I'm not so sure about that. That's why a lot of players get upset, because you allow the bumping, you allow the shoving, and then a little hip nudge, you call that.
When I was a coach, I used to beg to get that foul in here. Unfortunately, never got it.
Ewing's second. He goes out. 1:20 to play in the half. Mullen leaning in, and he's fouled. That's an almost guaranteed deuce. He'll come to the line to shoot 2.
You see what's happened, though, here in the last 5.5 minutes of this quarter. The thing that has kept Indiana in the game has been the free throw line. They have taken advantage. You see no field goals in the last 6:45. Why are they in the game? Because they're getting to the free throw line. Again, the careless fouls by New York has really hurt them. Indiana 10 of 18 at the free throw line. New York 10 of 11. So 7 more attempts now by Indiana, keeping them close to the Knicks right now.
Doug, I think that goes back to Larry Bird's mentality when he was a player with Boston. They believed in getting to the foul line, and they understood, just as the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan do right now, the importance of going to the line and staying in the game.
Knicks by 5. Childs cut off by a double team. Slings it out to Oakley, then gets a return. 3 seconds to shoot. Mills will hit the double pump.
I think he banked that ball off the glass. It was an impossible angle. Chris Mills will take that. He needs it.
Antonio Davis. Miller, catch and shoot. And he's upset. He thinks Houston bumped him, and he may be right. Meanwhile, Houston sprints back and gets the slam on what Reggie thinks is a 5-point turnaround that wasn't justified. If, in fact, he was fouled, he would have had 3 free throws coming, and the transition basket never would have resulted.
But you can't stop playing, Bob. You've got to keep playing.
See, I thought there was great defense by Allen Houston and good recognition to run out when he knew Reggie Miller was fighting and arguing.
Childs falls. Jackson spins to the hoop. 15 seconds now for the Knicks, who lead it by 7.
If I'm Allen Houston right now, hold on to the basketball and take the last shot. Try to get some penetration and get a foul.
But he loses it. Mullen now leading Miller, and Mills lets him go. Less than a second, and that's it. But still